Good afternoon. Welcome. My name is Begieneman and I will talk today about developers and AI. Basically getting an understanding where it is an enemy or a frenemy. But before I am going to jump into the conversation, I really would like to get an understanding on what your viewpoint is. Please raise your hands if you have already used AI in your day-to-day job. Yes, that's also basically what our research is showing, right? That more and more of you are already using it. There's one more question I really would like to ask you. Does your company already have a defined AI strategy? Please raise your hand as well. I see only a few people looking at that, right? That's also, I think, the case right now. People are still looking into what AI is, how are we going to use it, and how is it going to impact us. But I think it's really fair to say that it's already here. I'm leading the solution engineering department here in Europe for Atlassian, and I can really tell that it's impacting my day-to-day, and it's really also impacting the way that my team is working. Whether it's in Jira or in other products that Atlassian is offering, it is having an influence in the way that we're working. But not just on us, right? It's also having an influence on the whole world. The way that agile teams are basically structuring their ways of working. But I think it's also fair to say that's impacting heavily how software engineering is done. And basically, we are on the edge of redefining the way that software engineers are working. It's also awesome to see that new companies are arising, not only companies that provide AI services, but also reinventing the way that we have done business so far throughout. Let's meet Devin. Devin is the automated intelligence developed by Cognitive Lab and is branded as an AI software developer. Maybe you guys are on the rise of an AI being kept up, but I think it's cool to see how these changes are impacting us and what is already possible. Next to that, I think it's also cool to see that it's not only your teams that is impacted by that, but let's have a look at Artisan. They have developed an AI that is basically helpful or can help in order to do sales in a better and more streamlined way. So it's fair to say that's impacting all your teams across the organization as such. I think AI is not just a tool, right? I mean, the tooling there, everybody can get on and see a little bit out of it. But it's a skill that you have to master. You need to embed it in your day-to-day and really understand how you can harvest the power of AI. Just having it turned on is not making you or enriching you in the way that you're working, and it's not helping you. So what is it, the difference that we are looking at? Using AI as a tool can save you in doing certain tasks and certain tasks in a day-to-day better. However, if you really embed it as an advisory, it can save up much more. I think that's where really it starts to become interesting. So let's meet Chuck. Chuck is the pack of the leader. You see, he's here. And he is really occupied with all the challenges that he is seeing across the software development space. What are the leaders like him thinking along? Based on the research that we are having done, we see that he is thinking the development is understaffed, that there's too much cognitive load for the team, and there's too many tools that you have to take into account. But is that really true? Is that really what you guys are thinking, or is this just what leadership is thinking? Let's have a look at what dev you guys are telling us. Basically, you've said there's too much tech dev. There's a different understanding of what Chuck has, right? You're also telling us that there's missing documentation, so basically you cannot always execute on the task that you have to do. No time for the real fun, deep work, right? Sometimes you just have to host fires, and you don't have time to go really into the tech intensity that you guys like to do. And I think sometimes it's also not so clear what is the direction that the organization is taking up on. What is it really that they want us to solve, and what should we look at? Leaders like Chuck, they think, okay, let's embed AI. AI will solve it all for us. But like mentioned earlier, AI is not just a state of mind, right? It's a ways of working. What's interesting to say that our report actually shows that developers, only 80% of you are really using it already and think that AI is going to shake things up for them and is really helping them. So I'd really like you to come on a journey with me to have a closer look on, from an Atlassian perspective, how we are looking at this and what we have in mind in terms of the developer space. So how is AI going to shake up the coding part? I think it's fair to say that coding assistants have been along for a longer period of time than just right now. GitHub started off, ChatGPT has taken it over, enrich it a little bit more in 2023. And the AI coding assistant is really helping you to increase the acceptance rate, right? About 25 to 30% to be very fair. But yeah, I already hear you saying, that's just 1 or 2 hours a week. That's not really helping me to do more the fun work that I really would like to do. Going into the tech intensity, really solving the problems that I and the company are caring for. I think there's so much more potential with AI that we can harvest if we really are looking at in a holistic way to it. So what are we looking at? The next steps of AI is from issue to code plan. From code plan to code, but also from code to pull request. Enriching it end-to-end with AI is really going to be the next way of working. It's not just AI-powered, right? It's also developer-led. AI cannot exist without the other, and it needs to go hand in hand in order to make sure that we take the benefit out of that. It basically becomes an AI pair programmer, where you take the lead and AI is really going to help you solve more. Who will relate to this quote? I want AI to take over coding, so I have more time writing good specs. No developer ever, right? That's not what we want to do. We don't want AI to take that over. We want AI to help us facilitate so that we have more free time to do the creative and strategic part of the craft so that we really can enrich ourselves there. Does this look like a déjà vu? A lot of code, tons and tons of code coming by. And that's not just it, right? You, as an engineer, really need to understand and maintain everything that's happening here and basically make chocolate out of the dust of the codes that's sometimes coming along in the organization. I think that it's fair to say that any fool can write code that a computer can understand, but I think where the challenges really arises is that good programmers can write, a human can understand, right? That's really where we can make a difference. So let's try AI to help you solve for the challenges as such. I think the challenges that we have already identified early in the presentation, too much tech debt, missing documentation, not enough time for the deep work, but also missing direction, something that we are looking at right now. I really would like to take you into the next step, into the tech debt. That's also where part of the magic is happening in terms of the AI and what AI can really change. It's a very specific requirements, and that's also something that we look at from an Atlassian perspective. So let's pull up this experiment. We have been testing A/B, and we really want to get an understanding on which way we want to work from a Jira mobile device. Out of the testing, the team has decided to follow the green flow. You have been entitled with the task to kill the Jira feature controlled by the execution flag, and you really have to clean up the code base. That's an easy task, or not that easy. I think if we enrich it with AI, that's where really the fun part is. It's not only helping you to get the task done in the way that you have to do it, so basically cleaning up and conclude the specific code base after the experiment, but it's also explaining you what steps you can take. So also for people that are new in the team, or if you're looking into a new direction, it's something that can really help you in getting the job done easier and quicker. Next to that, it also needs to be cleaned up in Bitbucket, right? That's also where AI plays a really important part. Basically, you can automate when you enrich the AI code review assistant in Bitbucket end-to-end, and it can help you to provide inline suggestions directly into the pull request. The assistant can basically automatically generate this pull request for you and provide feedback on the security vulnerabilities, killing bugs, but also code smells and code styles, and you can automate it end-to-end. I think this is really where AI can help you become more better and agile in the ways that you're currently working. I think it's important as well, what are bugs versus issues? I think bugs is something that need to be fixed, and issues is something that should be fixed. There's a subtle nuances there, right? Let's talk about accessibility issues. Research has shown that more than 2,000 a year are arising at different stages of the life cycle. I think it's important to address that this is something that really needs to be addressed earlier in order to resolve it in a timely fashion. The developer's workflow on assistance from Bitbucket is an incomplete textual description of an image that is currently happening here. But when you are enriching it with AI, for instance, with the AI accessibility text agent, then it can directly solve for you. It can already identify what are the missing objects. It can identify as well what are the next steps it can take, and it can automatically already do the pull request into Bucket, making it end-to-end super sufficient. So I think if we redefine the AI coding, and what we have seen so far is that a lot of these things are already existing, but with the new generation in AI that is currently happening and what's coming up, we can even speed up the process and make it more agile in the ways that we are working already. So let's see how AI can shake up the stand-ups. I'm not sure how it is for you guys, but stand-ups is something that we tend to do a couple of times a week. Some companies do it on a daily basis. But I think it's fair to say that if you are the new kid on the block, and I think we've all been there, right? And let's take this one as an example. This person has not been working in an agile team yet, and he comes into the organization and thinks this is basically useless. Why am I here standing on the day-to-day, revising work that we already know, and also talking about the same things on a day-to-day? I am not really sure why it is happening like that. It's fair to say that the stand-ups, it often tends to go about the person that is the loudest. There's too much noise. We do not really understand what we are walking around or towards to. It's about getting fires out of fires, making sure that not everything is burning at the same time. And it's sometimes just a repetition of what we have already done in the day before. But I think it's also fair to say that AI can really help us enrich the way that we are currently doing this, the AI. So within our team and within Atlassian itself, we use the AI stand-up agent. Basically on a day-to-day basis, we have the ability to say and summarize what we have been doing for that specific day and also what we are doing for the day next. I already see you cheering, right? No more stand-ups. It's fair to say that this is not totally the truth. It's just a replacement of how we have been doing the stand-ups all along. And we're also looking at intensity when we should happen, because we can take it in a digital way. So what is it then that makes it so important to have a stand-up in the digital way in the age of AI? I think it's important to increase the motivation of the team. I think if we are working towards the same goal, and that also goes hand in hand with our philosophy of the system of work that we're currently also positioning, that is, we are motivating the team to work together. Next to that, it's also very important to understand, are we doing the right thing? Are we focusing on the right specs, and are we really looking towards the same? So let's kick off again the meeting with AI. So what it means is that we have already analyzed, without being together, what is happening, what is Dom doing, what is Sven doing, what are we all looking at. But it's also very cool to see that with AI, you can also specifically highlight the things that your colleagues are doing, and you can already directly tap into that. You can understand why it's important to do certain areas, and you can focus directly on the input and on the output as well. It's about understanding the work in a contextual space, but also making sure that all directions are heading into the same area. But more important, and I think this is something that we tend to forget, if we are also reinventing the ways that we're doing it, we can also celebrate the successes, right? I think sometimes, at least in my organization, we tend to overlook the successes of the individuals, and I think if we collectively share that more, it will also increase the way that we are working and the happiness that it's providing us, and appreciation all along. So let's have a look as well how AI can shake up the sprints. Software delivery every 4 weeks, quite recognizable for you, right? No CI/CD, no automated tested, no analytics, no feature flag, no cloud. Basically, help, it's not going the way that we are thinking. If we're reinventing the way how we want to do it, we're talking about daily deployments and not weekly sprints anymore. Honestly, I think we can conclude that weekly sprints are so 2020. Let's go back to nowadays, AI on a day-to-day sprint. How does that look like, and how is that impacting your ways of working actually? Let me walk you through a normal day. A lot of things are popping in, right? We have so many tasks, so many people that need to fulfill, different developers working on the same project in line after each other, and we have to wait. We get a notification and all of a sudden it stops because there's something that we need to fix and something that we need to address. There is a bug issue coming in, 3 of them. So let's prioritize that first. This is a regular way, right? You get a bug report, you have to do something, and you need to go figure out where the bug is coming from, what is it causing, and where should we look at. If we enrich it with AI, the AI can already suggest you, based on the triage, what kind of suggestions you can take, what the work is changing, how the flow can be, and what is there to be solved. Basically, no more sprint planning, as we can address it on the day-to-day. So what does AI sprints basically mean? It means that AI is enriching the way that you're working in a digital way. It's really helping you to identify what the best next step is that you can work on. Next to that is understanding the why. Why are we doing it, and how is it impacting the human diversity? The human diversity, what I mean, is also implying the team around you. It's not just you, right? You're depending also on other teams, providing you the information and making sure that everything is streamlined. And what is the most important thing? That you are in the steering wheel. You have the opportunity to basically adjust the course that you are driving and making sure that you are on top of the issues that you want to solve. So it's fair to say, no more planning, no more sprint reviews, or better said, in a different way, right? So what about peer feedback? I think that's one of the topics I already talked about a bit quicker. I think peer feedback is super important, and I think it's really overlooked at times. I think in peer feedback we can enrich each other, we can understand the ways that we're working, and with my team and within Atlassian, we are actually using Loom for that. I'm not sure if you guys have already heard of Loom, but Loom is our video tooling. So how I'm using it, if I have, for instance, a stand-up with my team, and there's something that we have been discussing, I record a very small video, I send it out to everyone, so not an additional meeting, and people can real-life tap into the comments that they want to bring. But we are also using that, for instance, for faster customer feedback. So as my organization is at the cornerstone between customer and product marketing and product management, we often tend to go to customers, ask them what are the current issues that they're facing. We record a very short Loom, we send it back to product development, and based on a triage system that automates it with AI, they can really see what is happening, what are the issues that we are creating, how do we prioritize, but also what are we going to solve for first, and what is the resolution to time to do it. Really understanding the customer feedback at its core and in the momentum that's happening. What is also really cool is that with Jira Team Analyzer, you're actually able to directly pull from your Jira with the Rovo chat functionality the different teams that are coming across. So as you see here, it identifies all the team. And for example, if there's a group issue around the mobile features or something else that has been identified, it can directly pull the teams out of that. And it is really making it easy for us to prioritize where to focus on. Next to that, we are working with Slack. It's also pulling everything that we have agreed upon to Slack, and it's really easy for me to divide all the work through the teams, and everybody knows where they can focus on and how to solve for. And the summary is automatically projected there, and that's also an easy way for us to follow and track where work is happening in the moment. So sprint reviews are just done in a bit of a different way, but it's really helping us to be more efficient. I also would like to see about how AI can shake up retro perspectives. I think it's really important that we as an organization and you as individuals work towards the same goals. We've already looked at what stand-ups are, how we can enrich them with AI, and we also understood already the why. But I think what is more important as well, that we learn, that we provide feedback, and that we learn from the things that we have already done and from each other, right? That's where the retro perspective comes in. And actually, in my team, we're using it in a different kind of cadence. We do it on a quarterly basis, and we are using the AI, the whiteboard functionality in Confluence. It has predefined teams, and so this one is one that I highlighted. It's about things that we couldn't do better. There's different teams and predefined ones that you can already mention, and everybody has the ability, and we do it live. Sometimes if we don't have that much time, we tend to send out the whiteboard already ahead, so you can prepare. Everybody can basically put their ideas together, and with the AI functionality embedded, it can directly streamline and organize what kind of teams are coming, and where you want to focus on, and it's organizing that in an agile way. And it's really helping us as well to prioritize what are the next best things that we have to focus on. And I think it's fair to say that it's not always easy for us to prioritize because there's so many things happening, but having this more at scale organized and having a cadence around it is really forcing us as well, not only me, but also the team, to go into the teams that we have identified, so that the next time that we're doing the retro again, we pull up the same board, make a new board underneath it, and we can really cross-check if the things that we have agreed upon are done, or if we need to adjust them in a different way. I really would like to discuss that retros have become more important as we work in a distributed environment, and especially within Atlassian. We are a remote first company. I do not see my colleagues on a day-to-day, so it's really important to make them understand what makes me awake, what helps them be better, and how can we as a team, as an organization, strive towards the same goals. Last thing I want to talk about is how AI is shaking up cross-functional teams. Maybe this is something that you come along sometimes. Oh, sorry. One QA engineer has to communicate with 30 different developers in order to get the task solved. I think it's important to say it's not always easy, and it's about the knowledge transfer as such. Making sure that what has been identified by the QA engineer is transferred in the right way to the developers, so that you can really understand end-to-end what you're solving for, and also get a clear understanding what is the need that we're seeing. What if we replace that with a specialized agent, the QA agent? The QA agent is obviously AI-powered and is bringing in different features. It's basically helping you navigate from an AI perspective what is currently happening, but it's also giving you the opportunity to pull in external data, enriching it. For you as a developer, it means that you have better information at hand before it comes to you, and it also means that you can write better tests eventually. So is this then the end of the cross-functional teams? Let's do a reality check. I think it's fair to say that these EIs are easy to build, right? We all can have a chat agent or something robust integrated. What is also really nice is even if you work around the clock, around the globe, it's 24/7 available. You have no waiting time. But I think it's fair to say that it's not a replacement at all. I mean, agents are there to build and be trained by humans. If there's no human to make them intelligent, there's nothing that we can solve for, right? And that human can be you. You can take up that role in your team. So I think it's very cool to see how basically the different kind of AI agents, so for developers it's basically a coding buddy, or specialized agents for your marketing or sales team, is really enriching the way that you're working instead of replacing the way that you're working. So coming back to the theme of today, how will AI change and impact our ways and the ways that teams are working? To be very fair, I am also not a fairy, so I have no idea. I think what we need to take into consideration that it will change and that we should be prepared for the change that is basically coming. I think as an organization it's very fair to ask yourself, your colleagues, the question, if we are already using AI in our day-to-day job, why don't we have a unified AI strategy? And if we do have it, what does that encounter and how do we want to proceed with that? So I really want to conclude with developers, AI, enemy or frenemy. I'm not here to tell you what you should choose, but what I did see throughout is that many of you are already using the AI technology as such. I think it's fair to see how to further embrace it. And obviously don't forget to be human, because in the end we all work with each other, right? Thank you so much for your attention and have a lovely day.